Good morning and happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome to a special edition of the Pigskin Playoff Bracket Breakdown, where we're about to tell you guys who's in, who's out, and who all the matchups are right here in North Central Ohio. I'm Brian Skronsky, this is Travis Berardi, and this is a glorious day, of course, Travis, where we find out kind of, the meat and potatoes of the playoff picture and how we're going to do some fine dining here in Week 11.
This is the day where we break things down, and then I get to rest for about 10 hours because Lenardi Berardi is done until basketball season. However, you're going to be able to make it through. It sounds like your voice is going a little bit after that Ohio State-Penn State game yesterday, man.
I got to say that I was a big kid. I was a grown-up last night. I got invited to do a little bit more partying after the game, and I was like, you know what? I got to get home. I got to get some notes together. I was sipping on some nice lemon tea, making sure that I could have enough voice for this 90-minute program that we have planned here today, Travis. But we have a ton of teams, a lot of regions to break down, so we're going to dive right into the thick of things. And let's begin with the big boys in Division III, Region 10. Bring up the brackets, Adam. Thank you, sir. There they are. And you see there's a lot of local flavor out there, plenty of Richland County savory action, and then Ashland as well down at the bottom of the bracket in.
Yeah, you got the Ontario Warriors down there. They got their number 6 seeding. If they would have beaten Shelby, they probably would have snuck in the top 4, but they'll take on number 11 seeded Lutheran West. Ashland, despite the loss to Lexington, they had enough bonus points, so they're going to get in there as well. And then you take a look at the top half of the bracket. Toledo Central Catholic. Them and Ashland actually made a jump from Division II last year, so they're probably, like you said on the Pigskin on Friday night, they're probably the favorites not only win the region but the state.
The entire state. Yeah, everyone's very scared of them, of course.
And if you look at the bottom of this top half of the bracket, a familiar sight. 2 years ago, we had this matchup at Arlen Field. We'll get a rematch again between those Mansfield Senior Tigers. Slipped into the number 4 seed, so they get 2 more games at Arlen Field with the new scoreboard and that beautiful turf they have there and everything. So Arlen Field going to be lit up for week number 11 and possibly week number 12 as they take on a Lexington squad that slow start to the season, a young squad.
Getting it going now.
But they're getting it going. Their 5 losses were 2 playoff teams. But they beat Ashland. They did what they needed to do, and they're in week number 11.
Yeah, but you look at the Tigers, winners of 7 straight back-to-back shutouts, Mount Vernon and Madison, and they've scored 31-plus in 6 of their last 7 games. One at Lexington back about a month ago,
the Browns game.
37-10. But this is why they suit up in Week 11 and play the games. And with a little bit more on the Minutemen, we're going to welcome in their head coach, Andrew Saris, is going to join us right here and now. And, Coach, it's a glorious Sunday out here. How are you spending it so far today?
I got a chance to see the family a little bit this morning, which is really good, but had some eyes on some film. We're meeting as a staff later. Just excited to get a chance to play in the playoffs this year.
Well, you guys, you needed a win in Week 10 to get into the playoffs. What did you see from the team in that victory against Ashland?
Saw a team that continues to fight. We talked a little bit after the game. It's been an up and down season. We won 3 straight, and then lost 3 straight, and we finished with 2 straight wins. So, we've told ourselves the last 2 weeks that it's been playoff games for us. We know in order for us to give us this opportunity that we're going to get next Friday, we had to win those last 2. So, went out and did that as a team, and I'm just really proud of them for holding on to that and those kids getting the chance to play this Friday.
And someone flipped me a text message, says that Lexington has not beat Ashland at home since 2008. So if I can verify that, if that's true, how nice was it to kind of get that monkey off of the programs back and kind of change history a little bit?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'm sure that is true. We knew as a team going into this, that's just a good team. Ashland, year in and year out, is a quality program with quality coaches and quality kids. So for us to go out and get that win, I do think it's a nice turn for the program. And then we knew that it was going to allow us this opportunity to go out and we drew the Tigers, so get a chance to play them again.
Yeah, well, what do you like about getting a second shot at your OCC rivals? Obviously, Richland County game, and there's a lot of back and forth between these 2 programs over the last probably 50 years or so.
It's cool. It's cool for the county. It's cool for the communities. When you get a chance when you get 16 teams in the playoffs, and then it gets drawn that you're going to play somebody that's close to you, that the kids know each other and have already played this year. That's going to be cool for everybody, and I'm excited for that.
Hey, Coach, congratulations on the playoff berth. This is a young squad that you have. Only 7 seniors. You had 30 sophomores, including sophomore quarterback Joe Caudill. How has your younger players progressed throughout the season? I mean, you had that 3-point loss at the buzzer to Ontario, a team that one loss. They're a high seed in this region, and also a tough 7-point loss to New Philadelphia, who's high in their region as well. Just how have you seen your guys progress to get to this point?
Well, those young sophomores, if you think about it, that coming from week 1 versus Ontario to what they are now, I mean, I guess the amount of repetitions, the amount of mental mistakes they've made, the amount of mistakes they've made, but also to have the chance to go and correct, see on film, continue to practice. I've seen that progression from them. So, obviously they are sophomores. However, a lot of them, with the amount of time that they've been playing now, they've had to grow up. And those upperclassmen have done a nice job of trying to show them along the way. It's not always easy. They don't always see it right away. But those upperclassmen have never stopped trying to guide them along.
And like we said, you get a rematch with Mansfield Senior. But how important is it to get at least one more game under those young kids' belt just to, get them some more playing time in there before going into the offseason? Maybe a couple more games. You never know. It's the playoffs.
Yeah, and something else we've talked about was just for everybody to get more weeks of practice. Anytime you can get, whether it's the kids who are playing every single snap on Friday or kids who are going to work their way to eventually be varsity football players, just the ability to be able to get out there and put the pads on for one more week, those add up over time, and it helps build a program. And that's something I'm really excited for and excited for these kids to see and be a part of.
Well, 27-point loss for you guys, Coach, the first time that you matched up with the Tigers. Tell me why round 2 is going to be a little bit different here in this rematch.
What we've got to be able to do is take away from that loss. Go back and look and see what were the mistakes we made, what were they able to do against us. They just did a phenomenal job of owning the field position. I think when you look back at total yards, I think we actually had more total yards, which is wild, but it shows the kids that that's not just about the game. The game is having field position, making plays on special teams, and not making mistakes, whether it's penalties or just typical X and O's mistakes. So, we've got to try to see how can this team respond. How are they gonna do when they get another chance to go back and play a team that took them to them the first time.
Well, Tigers fans already talking about, hey, we get 2 home playoff games, Coach. So maybe you get a chance to go out there. Week 11, spoil the party over at Arlen Field. Definitely looking forward to keeping an eye on that matchup there. All Richland County showdown, man. Best of luck to you.
Good luck.
Hey,
Coach.
I appreciate it, guys. Have a good day.
You too. Yeah, some good perspective, I think, from Coach Saris. Such a young team, and especially at those skill positions at the quarterback spot. So to even just get one more week of practice, that's a lot of value.
Absolutely, and I know people are still frowning upon the fact that we have 16 teams still in the playoffs. We're thinking maybe it'd be down to 12 or 8, but this does give a chance of these teams, lower teams from 12 to 16, 10 to 16, if they're young squads, it does get them that extra week of practice.
Sure.
Maybe they pull off an upset, they get a couple extra weeks. So it is beneficial in that way, but the Lexington Minutemen are going up against a Mansfield Senior Tiger team that allowed only 16.5 points per game.
Yeah, they're solid.
And with Amar Davis as one of the, Amar Davis and Duke Reese as well, they have a pretty darn good offense as well.
Yeah, speaking of good offenses, let's check in on number 6 Ontario, 9-1 on the season, but they got a tough one. Lutheran West 7-3 on the year. Travis Longhorns, they've won 4 straight, and you look at last season, and that very Longhorn team, they won 10 games, beat Toledo Scott in week 11, so they got a lot of veterans back that have already got a little taste of the playoffs, and I bet they're hungry and salivating at a shot to try to get another season where they're getting close to double-digit wins. So I don't think this is a gimme for the Warriors, even though they're playing at home.
But I think the Ontario Warriors are also hungry. That tough loss on the hook and lateral to Shelby. They don't get the outright championship, maybe a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. They want more. They want more right now, and they have a very balanced offense. We talked enough about Bogdan Miller. We talked enough about head coach Aaron Eckert and what his team has gone through. So I think it's going to be a great matchup, but the Ontario Warriors, I think they're ready for the test.
And I'm glad that you used the exact term hungry, Travis, because that's exactly what their head coach was just a few minutes ago. Aaron Eckert jumping on with us right now. And, Coach, you said you need a little bit of time before you could join us because you had to get a little early lunch in your diet plan. So what'd you just snack on? What were you eating?
Oh, the healthy option of McDonald's.
Yes.
Yeah, well, our Adam Thompson also walked in with a biggie bag and then a drink. So what's your go-to when you hit up the Golden Arches?
Oh, a quarter pounder with cheese. That's just
there you
old
go.
staple.
Yeah, congratulations on being able to get a burger this early. Well, I thought they were still serving up some of those hot cakes and the sausage links at this time. So you must be a special guy here, Aaron, and probably because you won the MOAC championship. Congratulations on that. First time in a long time. I mean, I was just a year out of high school the last time that the Warriors did this, so that puts a little bit of perspective.
I was a junior.
I got a high school age kid now. So just tell me about that win over Highland. What would you like most about what you've seen from your kids?
I think that the win against Highland just was a kind of a summation of our season. We started off pretty well. We actually got a fumble inside the 5 on a kickoff, so we score, and then they just kind of take the ball down the field and end up being 7-6, and we go down and get a field goal, and they actually take the lead for a minute, and then right before half, we go down and BP threw an absolute dime to Landon Foltz in the corner of the end zone. So, for us, it was kind of a back and forth early on, and then I think as the second half went on, we were able to come out and start the third quarter hot and get up a couple scores, and then, didn't look back in a game that, just rainy, windy, just not ideal conditions, but really glad we were playing on turf that night.
Yeah, clearly you guys have moved on. You got a nice win in Week 10, but have you had a chance to really digest the loss to Shelby, given just how wild that ending was?
Yeah, we talked about it, and it's one of those things, just in life, you get to move on from. And so, it sucked. It wasn't anything that we were, hoping, expecting, wanting. But, as an athlete and as a person, and hopefully, these guys are, fathers and family men at some point in their lives, or, whatever they choose to do. But there's going to be disappointment, and there's going to be times where you just have to come back and then play the next play, or, continue to move on. So, we talked quite a bit about it, and hopefully, I think we got by it. I think we're, it's not something you can get over overnight, but we tried a lot last week to get through it and talk through it. And I think we're in a good spot now.
And I know every team wants to go undefeated throughout the year, but after that loss, is that a good learning experience? Is that something to say, hey, you guys, you can, if you don't play a good game, lose it right before the playoffs? Is that something that, kind of a wake-up call to say, hey, we need to take care of ourselves throughout each and every game?
Yeah, there's plenty of learning opportunities in that game, and it's one of those things that we've got to do a better job in game. We had plenty of opportunities to make plays at the end of the game on both sides of the ball to pull out the W, even with all the mistakes we made during the game. But it was a good learning experience for us. Kind of, I think, maybe grounded us a little bit, and hopefully it'll help us make a playoff run here.
And, we can't talk enough about your quarterback, Bogdan Miller, what he can do. Adam and I were getting together some video last night, and he just he's not your typical build for a quarterback. He's like a skinnier version, but he seems like he can do anything still. Just elaborate a little bit more on your signal caller out there, because he is just phenomenal.
Yeah, he might be skinny, but he look wirier out there, Coach. He probably packs a little bit of a punch in those small bones.
Yeah, he's not that, small. I know he looks small. He's 175, 180 pounds. He's not a tiny kid. So, he's finished runs this year great for us. You'll see him lower his shoulder into people. Obviously as a coach, you're like, oh, no. And then, but the kid's a competitor, man. He wants to win. He probably took that loss to Shelby harder than anybody. So, you can't say enough good things about him, because he kid would be all defense. He could be a running back. He could be an all-conference defensive end if he wanted to be. It's and will do at some point. So, we're very lucky to have him, and he's a great kid. He's taking all college classes. Not only is he a great athlete, but he's a good student, or a great student. He's a high character kid. So, you just can't say enough good things about the young man.
All right, Coach, let's go ahead. Let's rip off the Band-Aid. Let's talk about Week 11 last year. Did not really go your way. Shutout on the road. How is this team better than what you had last year going into the postseason?
I think we're a year more experienced. A lot of these guys played last year, and, we lost some really good players from last year's team. But, this is a new team, new feeling, and we've got a ton of older guys, and now they can say they've been there. and they kind of know what to expect. And it's also nice to be able to host a playoff game rather than go on the road. And so, I think we're looking forward to just that experience and taking from last year what we learned, the extra weeks of practice, and applying that to this year as we move forward with Lutheran West this week.
Well, this stadium, definitely one of those special environments, I think, here in North Central Ohio. So we'll be looking forward to coming over there, getting some coverage for you and your boys, Coach, and expecting a lot of fireworks there, lighting up that big Jumbotron that you guys have. I'm expecting a lot of points in this one.
Well, we'll try.
You've been trying and succeeding pretty much all year, Coach. 9-1. Hey, congratulations on an awesome regular season and continued success here as you dive into Week 11. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
All right, the quarter pounder with cheese, is that the right amount of meat, you think, on the hamburger? Do they get it right with that sandwich? Because that's one of the only things that I'll order.
Well, I'm a cheese guy. I got to have extra cheese on it, a little bit of extra ketchup. But, yeah, that's the amount. That's the perfect amount. That or the Big Mac. I mean, the Big Mac it's the GOAT.
I think that extra layer of bread is a little bit too much for me. I just feel like it's carb overload, and then with the special sauce,
a quarter pounder with mac sauce.
Now you're speaking my language a little bit more, I think.
Maybe they have those specials with the wrappers and stuff that they have, like I forget what special they have, whatever they do. But the Cardi B meal, stuff like that. The Brian Ski meal, like a quarter pounder but with mac sauce, maybe a little 6-piece nugget on the side, large fry, and like a sweet tea or something. That'd be the ski meal, right?
Yeah, I don't know what kind of weight I really pull out there in McDonald's country, but if I were to recommend a sandwich, I'd probably be something right about there. And I like just a lot of different toppings to throw on there. So give me every single vegetable possible, and then I'm cool with you with the double layer of cheese. But who cares what I want to eat? I'm curious. Let's go ahead and settle this debate here. We got another coach joining us now. We got Scott Valentine out there in Ashland. Coach, what's up with you? And then tell me, what's your go-to meal at McDonald's?
Well, I think like you, I had the Big Mac meal yesterday, so that was my Big Mac meal, and everything's good here. So,
hey, it's great to see you back in Ashland, where, of course, you spent a lot of your coaching career. Did it feel comforting right away, where you just slipped right back into your role as head coach, or did you have to kind of ease in a little bit round 2 with the program?
Well, the senior group, they were in 7th grade my last year here in Ashland. So there was a time period of trying to get to know those kids again and the kids underneath them. So, there was a time period. But, as we got going, things got back to feeling more normal.
Haven't got a chance to talk to you since you made the switch from Madison back over to Ashland. Just tell me kind of what weighed into that decision to go back home.
I think there's just a lot of different things. My wife still teaches here in Ashland. We're living in Ashland. So a lot of different factors, nothing to do with the kids. I had great kids there at Madison. They did a great job and worked hard for me. So, but just a lot of other little factors that came into play that helped make that decision.
Bit of an up and down campaign for you guys, obviously, at 5-5. Give yourself a grade, Coach, in how you just feel like the season went overall collectively for Arrow Nation.
Well, I think for us, coming in this year, there was a big senior class that graduated, so 20-some seniors. So a lot of the kids we had coming back didn't have any varsity playing time. So our objective early was to try to see where we were and find out what we had to get better at. And I think as the year went on, we got better. We played some tough games early or in the conference with West Holmes and Mansfield Senior and just didn't make enough plays there. Came back after those 2 losses and had a real good game against Worcester. And then the other night with Lexington, the weather played a part in that, but, give credit to Lexington. They came out and made the plays. And so we got to rebound now and get ready to go in the playoffs.
Coach, even despite your losses, 4 of your 5 losses were to 10 points or less. Your defense was keeping you in these games despite some lack of offense in those. Just you're going to go up against a strong Tiffin Columbian squad, but with if you have a good defense, you have a chance in any of them. Just talk a little bit more about how your defense has kept you in games and giving you at least a chance to maybe win some of these games that you lost.
Well, there's no doubt I have a great defensive staff. Ryan Stackhouse being defensive coordinator, and leading that group of guys. But they do a great job of coaching our kids, and I think that we got better all year defensively at reading our keys, getting off blocks, and then going and making tackling. And like you said, when you have a good defense, you have an opportunity to be in games. And offensively, you just got to make plays when you get the opportunity. So, we've really made strides defensively, kept us in a lot of games, and now we have to as we go into the playoffs, and Tiffin's a very good team, have to be ready to play a good full quarter game.
Travis wants to talk about the defense, but if we get Coach Valentine here on the call, we got to talk about your spread offense, Coach. No question about it. And faltered a little bit down the stretch in those losses, 3 of the last 4. I think you were held to 14 points or less in those games. So you're going to need a few more, I think, to get a win over a team like the Tornadoes. So how are you going to build your kids back up on the offensive unit and get them ready for a tough matchup coming up on Friday night?
Well, the thing is with those games, opportunities were there. We just missed on a couple completions that would have given us some scores. So we've gotten better each game, and I think that's something that with us offensively, Caden Spots is doing a great job running the ball. Our line's gotten better as the year went on, and then Michael Franz outside, Nate Bernhardt's been able to get him the ball, and Gabe Baith and some of our other guys. So we just got to take it and spread it around and try to make plays when we get those opportunities.
Well, I'm sure that you'll figure it out. If anybody can, Coach, it is you with that creativity that you always bring to the table with your offensive unit. So best of luck heading into that game against Columbian on Friday. You got some fans here at the OH Report. Glad to see you back in Ashland too, Coach.
Thanks a lot for having me.
All right, appreciate the time. Just one of the all-around, class dudes, I think, in the area, no question. And
Hall of Famer, all the wins he has. I mean, if you talk about Ashland football, especially with him back, you talk about Coach Valentine first and foremost. And it's just awesome to see him back there, and it's awesome to see that he has Ashland back in the postseason. Last year they were in Division II. Like I said, they played Toledo Central Catholic, another team that moved up to D3, but and got kind of blown out, but you'd understand why. But to see him back, another playoff appearance for Ashland, pretty darn good.
Yeah, he's synonymous with the Arrows brand, so very cool to have him back home and getting his team back in the postseason. All right, Trav, let's move on now. Let's dive into Division 4. Let's talk a little bit about Region 14 next, and let's go ahead and let's bring up the bracket, and we'll show you all the teams that have qualified. And again, this one, it's got plenty of local teams that are going to be involved in the action, and most of them playing at home in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, this is a MOAC-filled squad along with West Holmes out of the OCC, but we talked throughout the year on the Friday Night Pigskin about how this MOAC conference has a lot of potential to have some good squads, and it played out that way. We saw Ontario and Shelby battle it out until the end of the season. We saw Galleon with the great 5-0 start, 4-0 start before dropping back-to-back to Ontario and Shelby. But those teams, and then River Valley, even with their upset of Shelby, even though they won't get the home game with their loss to Clear Fork, but a lot of potential in this region. Let's take a look at the bottom half of the region and the Shelby Whippets taking on Cleveland Central Catholic. And then right above them, River Valley heading to that familiar team here at the OH Report now, Van Wert.
That's right.
They seem to run into our teams every single year in the postseason. But 6-11, 3-14, those are some intriguing matchups. You see Bellevue up there at the 7 spot taking on Napoleon, and then Glenville, the last year's state champion. I said it would be the perfect opportunity for Shelby and West Holmes if Glenville lost to Division I. John Marshall, they blew them out.
Nope.
They blew them out to get that seed. It threw a wrench into everything. So now, Shelby you look down the line, it'd be a Shelby-Glenville regional semi, and then once we get to the top half of the bracket, too, it'd be a West Holmes-Perkins. But Shelby Whippets, they got an offense, man. Just like Ontario, they have an offense with Braden DeVito, the sensational sophomore, and I keep saying it. Him, alongside Bog Miller, probably, at least worthy of an honorable mention or at least a finalist spot for Mr. Ohio football. Am I lying here? Am making too much up, or what do you think? Like, it's at least the numbers for Braden DeVito: 2,584 passing yards,
Nice,
and over one. Well, that was going into Week 10, and then he's over 1,000 yards rushing as well.
Oof. Yeah, when you got that kind of dual threat activity, it's hard to count them out. And you look at the Whippets, too. Their 2 losses at Bellevue, pretty good team, at River Valley, and both really razor thin by 2 points and then by 4 points. So love the offense, love a lot about just the character of this Whippets team and the coaching staff, of course, with Mahaney on down the line. It's one of the very best staffs that we have in all of North Central Ohio. And this is the team, averaging 40 points per game. They've scored at least 23 in every single game. The Ironmen, destroyed in Week 10, 45-zip by Villa Angela St. Joe. So I'm not sure how much momentum they really have rolling into the postseason. It certainly feels like this should be not just a winnable game for the Whippets, but in front of those fans, the rabid dog pound that they have out there, the Red Rage, ooh, it could be blowout city in Week 11, maybe a running clock.
They just need to take care of business. We talked about this the year Lucas went to the state championship game. They needed to knock down a 2-point conversion and knock off McDonald in the first round at home. Maybe overlooking. Don't overlook your opponent. Just play your game. This Shelby Whippet squad, they have the ability to put up big numbers. Just don't overlook, though. You never know what could happen. But I think this team is tested. A tough loss at Bellevue by 2 points. The River Valley lost a late second loss, and then they get the late second victory against Ontario on the oop-de-oop out of Varsity Blues, the hook and lateral. Love that play. So they're battle-tested. They've gone through every scenario throughout this season. It's just take care of yourselves. You do you. That dynamic offense. Multiple wide receivers. Skylar Winters back there at running back. You just take care of yourself. You're going to be moving on to the second round. And then, we want to look ahead. How will they stand up against Glenville? I think, those are going to be 2 great offenses at least. I saw them at the passing scrimmage, Glenville, at Mansfield Senior, going on against the likes of Mansfield Senior and Crestview back in the summer, and they got some playmakers, a couple of Ohio State Buckeyes in the future.
Yeah, I talked to a couple people about 2 weeks ago, and they feel like Glenville probably the favorite to win the state again. So
Perkins, though, if we look at the top half of the bracket, they opened what they do opening night. They put up 81 against Woodward. 62 in Week 2 against Elyria Catholic, 59 against Rocky River in Week 3. They scored 49, 49, 52, 55. Their lowest output, 31 points. That team can put up the numbers as well. They'll take on Vermilion. I think that is not a rematch, but it's an SBC foe. I don't see any way Perkins doesn't make it at least to a regional semifinal. Looking at the bottom bracket, though, with our teams, West Holmes, without Sam Williams-Dixon, but they still have Maltrich and company there putting up some big numbers. And then the Galleon Tigers, that Pickle Juice squad, taking on Firelands at home at Heisey Park as well. May have that West Holmes Galleon matchup down at West Holmes. That'd be quite the one to look at. But Perkins, far and beyond, probably the favorite in the top half of this bracket.
Yeah, I think you're right. You look at the Knights, though, region champions in 21, lost to Van Wert in the region semifinals last year, but they were 12-0 before that. You talked about the departure of Williams-Dixon. Boy, he's finding life really fun at Pick North. It looks like it has been a nice move for him and his kid brother. But the Knights, too, they won 6 straight. 2 losses versus Licking Valley and versus Mansfield Senior. So when they've got against the top dogs, they haven't been able to come out on top. But this is a team playing some really solid football. They've earned the opportunity to have the potential for at least 2 home games. And Golden Bears losing their last 2 games and 4 of their last 6. So at least that first-round matchup for the Knights, you definitely like them on paper. Both teams averaging over 30 points per game, though. So look for some fireworks, I think, early and often out there in West Holmes.
They still, without Sam Williams-Dixon, they still have the pieces to get you into a shootout. That Licking Valley lost 5 points, 40-35. 10-point loss to Mansfield Senior, 38-28. So they still put up numbers against, like I said, a Mansfield Senior squad giving up less than 17 points per game. They put up 62 against Lexington, a playoff squad, 43 against Worcester, a D2 squad, 62 points over Mount Vernon. I know Mount Vernon's down, but my goodness. And then they pulled out a 9-8 victory over New Philly with a 2-point conversion at the end of the game. So another battle-tested team that can put up some points. That seems to be the norm around here in North Central Ohio, teams that can just light up the scoreboard.
Yeah, I want to focus a little bit more on that pickle juice team as you talked about them, though. The Galleon Tigers, though,
pickle juice too.
Getting to play at home in the friendly confines of Heisey Park, one of the cool venues, I think, in all of north central Ohio. And the Tigers, winners of their last 2, 3 of their last 4, but 3-3 over their last 6. You look at the losses, though. Shelby, good team. Ontario, great team. Pleasant, pretty good team. And all of those on the road, Trav. So what I like so much about the Tigers is that they get the home cooking in week number 11, 5-0 at home. They beat Cary, baby.
That's what I was going to say. That was you have those losses, but they beat a Winford team that's really come on in the second
good.
half of the season.
River Valley.
I mean, Cary's a top 4 team. River Valley, who we'll just say this right now. River Valley, if it's a dry field, they probably score some points over Clear Fork. But like we saw, I think like we saw also in the Devil Dog game. We'll get to D7 later, but it's just the field conditions can really, change things.
It didn't look like football. No. The clips that I saw of that game.
Oh, but that'd be a blast to play in, wouldn't it? I mean,
movie-like conditions.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Galleon has some very quality wins, and they have some tough losses. That 14-13 setback to Pleasant was a tough one, but yeah, Galleon too. Like I said, MOAC a stat conference, at least the top 4 or 5 teams.
Yeah, and we were hoping for an opportunity to talk with the Galleon Tigers head coach, Matt Dick. Doesn't look like he's on just yet, but dude was texting me at 5:30 a.m. I was very much asleep, Coach. So I don't know if he was already up getting in his game prep and now he needs a little afternoon nap before the Browns kick off at 1 p.m. or what. But I do – you look at the coach's lifestyle, and what have everyone said so far pretty much is that, already looking at game film, that they just find out basically. I mean, Joe Idle got it together. We kind of knew Saturday, who teams were going to be playing, but not official until this morning. So the fact that they're already starting to do that deep dive into the huddle accounts and making sure that, that they're going to be as prepared as possible for Week 11. I mean, these coaches, they don't get paid nearly as much as they should here in the high school.
That's why Joe Idle and I are here, so we can break it down. We can give you the playoff ratings, hopefully by Friday night, just so these coaches can get prepared and get ready like Coach Dick and company. But Braxton Prosser, close to 1,000 yards passing. Gabe Ivy, 1,000 yards rushing. Prosser also close to 1,000 yards rushing there. Right. So they can slow down the pace if they want to, or they can go through the air to Jacob Chambers, Lincoln Tyrell, Elijah Chafin there, Landon Campbell. Those are all receivers with over 10 receptions this season. And then, that a little bit of RPO. Fake it the Ivy, keep it with Prosser. They have a very good offense, and then on the defensive side of the ball too, they can other than the Ontario and Shelby losses, which we can understand, those two teams have very good offenses. They can play some defense as well.
Well, we're up against the break here, Trav. I do want to touch on one more game, though, with River Valley at Van Wert, because we tend to be seeing the Cougars, like you mentioned, come playoff time around here. And so for them, regional finals last year, they ended up losing to the state champion in Glenville, but it was a really good game. So their quarterback, if I remember a season ago, was just a junior, so they got him back a lot of pieces and parts. Their 3 losses, Salina, Wapakoneta, and St. Mary's, all really good teams, 8-2, 8-2, and 6-4. So I think the Vikings, they've scored 28-plus 6 times, 35-plus 5 times. They've definitely got the offense that can do it. Are they going to be able to slow down the Cougars, though? Another team that can really light up the scoreboard, averaging 36 points per game during their 4-game win streak here down the stretch.
Yeah, and they have one of the top 3-4 passers in the area. Let me get down to it. His name slipped my Chase Ebert. Yes, Chase Ebert, one of the top 3-4 passers in the area, top 3 receiver in the area. Kean Shadone, his brother's gone, but Ebert stepped right in and gave Kean the ability to catch the ball. He has 830 yards receiving through 9 weeks. But Chase Ebert, over 2,000 yards passing. So they have that passing game going. And then Trenton Mercer, who's come on as of late running-wise, 712 yards rushing. And then Chase Ebert, once again, it's one of those dual-threat quarterbacks. He has 733, so they can take to the ground, go through the air as well. A lot of dual-threat quarterbacks in North Central Ohio this year I've seen.
That's the wave, brother.
It's the new, it's the way to have an offense in high school football nowadays. So if I could see a shootout, or I could see a defensive battle as well.
All right, guys, we are going to take a quick commercial timeout. We'll be back. We'll start diving into some of the more smaller schools in and around the area. We'll talk a lot about Division 6 and Division 7. Got plenty more coaches calling in as well right here on the Pigskin Playoff Bracket Edition.
At Knox Community Hospital, your primary care physician is more than someone who delivers your test results, more than someone who writes prescriptions, more than someone who listens to your heart. We are your healthcare partner who takes the time to know you, listen to your concerns, and provide you with expert personalized care to make and keep you well. Because to us, you're more than just numbers on a chart. You're a neighbor and a friend. Knox Community Hospital, in the community, for the community.
Welcome back to a special edition of the Friday Pigskin presented by Knox Community Hospital. It's the Bracket Breakdown Show here on a Sunday afternoon, and still a lot more to get into here, Travis. So let's dive into.
I love it. A lot of teams.
Let's see who's playing here in Division 5, Region 18 now. That is the bracket, and some of our local squads. You look Pleasant getting in, 6 wins for them. Bit of a resurgent charge back onto the football scene. That was kind of a football factory for years and years and years. A bit of a dip, but they're back. They're going to be playing Eastwood, and you look at the Spartans, shut out by Shelby in Week 10. You don't love the momentum that they have coming in. They were able to beat Galleon, though, earlier in the year by 1. And on the other side, the Eagles playing pretty good. Winners in 6 of 7. Only lost to 10-0 Oak Harbor during that stretch, and they can score a lot of points, 36 plus 7 times, Trav. So interesting matchup, I think, for the Spartans there.
Yeah, Pleasant also, remember, Week 4, they knocked off Dane Nauman by 17 points. Nom. But Pleasant, they are a squad passing-wise. Owen Lowry, about 2,000 yards passing. They have multiple guys that can run the ball. Lowry over 500 rushing, England over 400 yards, Wolf over 300 yards, Niederhauser over 200 yards, and then they have 5 wide receivers with over 100 yards receiving. So they have a lot of options on this team. They can spread you out, and I think that's what's made them so successful. And only giving up 23 points to Shelby. Once again, they have turf down there, don't they, or Pleasant plays on grass? I just want to note for that Week 10 game with the rain and everything, only gave up 23 points to Shelby.
I don't think that I've actually been to their stadium before.
So maybe the conditions helped them a little bit stay in that game, but only giving up 23 points to Shelby. Only a 1-point win over Galleon to a good Galleon squad. So Pleasant's been battle-tested as well.
You talked about Dane Naaman, though, and his Fighting Scots just fighting their way into the postseason. They're at 500, taking on number 5 Liberty Benton. And what more can you say about the MOAC leading rusher and touchdown scorer? Mr. Naaman, definitely, he's the dude that gets it done out there for the Fighting Scots. You kind of like Stover at the quarterback position, but, dude, this highlight kind of says it all. I remember this one, like, get off of me. He just don't look like a high school kid.
They don't call him the Dane Train for nothing.
Choo-choo.
He's just he's a D1 athlete right there. He can just power you to the end zone. But they do have a passing game. Colton Stover over 1,500 yards receiving. And Caden Reichenbach, who's in the top 10 in the area in receiving, 723 yards. So Zach Church over 300 too. So they can pass the ball, but this offense goes through the Dane Train as it should. He had over 100 yards rushing in their loss to Ontario on Friday night. But, yeah, Highland, a 12 seed, maybe one of those sneaky 12 seeds. We'll see. Liberty Benton, a tough team as always in Division 5.
Yeah, Highland lost 4 of their last 5, though. Trav, the only win against Clear Fork, the Eagles, rather, 8 straight wins. They've scored at least 33 points in every single game this year. They just beat Macomb. Yeah, in Week 10. Actually had them doubled up. Their only loss so far to Columbus Grove, who made the state Final Four last year. So that's going to be a very difficult task to try to beat them.
They're not bad.
All right, let's look at the other half of the bracket now. And Fredericktown, a team that I got a chance to see in an excited version of them, because after they knocked off Centerburg in that Freddieburg matchup, nobody wanted to leave the field on senior night. Everybody stuck around, ringing that bell, buddy. And you know, you look at their opponent, the Blue Streaks, winners of 6 straight, outscoring their opponents 270-71. Hasn't quite been the same finish of the season for the Freddies, though they did win their last 2, and it was the highest 2-scoring games of their season at 38-32, so progress. Blake Sipes, though, oh, do I have a little man crush on this kid. 4 touchdowns versus Centerburg, and he was so tough. Looked like he was going to get knocked out the game. Nah, he come out for one play, holding his shoulder. It was a la Matt Stafford, the one game where he came back and threw the touchdown pass to beat the Browns. That was kind of the reminiscent that I got, of course. So, yeah, he had a special night. Really enjoy watching him play, and he's going to need to be spectacular for the Freddies to win on the road at Archbold.
Yeah, he's close to 2,000 total yards of offense, just under 1,000 yards passing, over 1,000 yards rushing. So he can do it, but he's going to need some help. I saw him against the Northmore Golden Knights, and Northmore shut him out 35-0, but I think the Golden Knights have a very, very good defense along with that offense. Fredericktown, though, it's what have you done for me lately? They won 3 of their last 4, took out Loudonville by 14. They did lose to East Knox, another team that's coming on strong at the end of the season. They lost to them 35-0, but then they bounced back, rolled Cardington Lincoln, and then a must-win. A must-win with their backs against the walls.
Sure.
They took care of Centerburg and got that Freddieburg trophy back and into the playoffs.
All right, so that's Division 5, Region 18. Let's check out Division 6 now in Region 22, and you're going to see a lot of familiarity with some teams that are perennials here on the OH report. Let's begin by looking at Colonel Crawford, the number 3 seed, taking on another familiar opponent in number 14, Seneca East. Eagles have scored a lot of points this year, 37+ in 7 of their 10 games, Trav, and they already beat the Tigers at home September 15th, 29-14. So you might be telling me they're a favorite in this one.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. They have a ground attack. 3 rushers over 700 yards. Ooh. Trevor Vogt over 1,000. Micah Thomas over 1,000, most likely when we get the Week 10 stats out. Connor McMichael, 660 going into Week 10. So they have some rushing. And then Trevor Vogt and also Peyton Baker, too. Both have thrown the ball for a combined 800 yards. So if they wanted to go to the air, they go to the air. But you saw, especially in the Cary game, they go to the ground a lot. They run the ball, and they run it down your throat. They can control the clock that way, a la the Lucas Cubs. But Colonel Crawford, once again, them and Cary, I loved the situation. They needed either Columbus Grove or Columbia to lose. Columbus Grove got upset.
Yep.
It gave both of them 2 home games in the postseason, and as they should. And selfishly, a Cary Colonel Crawford regional championship. I know that's like
looking way down the road,
but down the road. But hey, we can dream right
dream
now. But these 2 teams have what it takes to at least give us an opportunity for that.
Let's now rope in the mastermind behind the Eagles, Jake Bruner, their head coach, and 4 straight season that Colonel Crawford as a program has made the playoffs, Mr. Bruner. I imagine that's got to feel very rewarding being a part of it all these years.
Yeah,
Well, it looks like Jake might be frozen in time for the moment. Hopefully we can get him back online here. Got a few questions that we'd love to get answered.
He's slowing things down just like his offense. What they can do in some games if they need to, but they can put up numbers as well.
Yeah, if you've got that many dudes that can run the football and that aggressive of an offensive front, wouldn't you want to slow things down a little bit and have the likes of Vogt and McMichael and then certainly the other 2 running backs that they have in the backfield? I mean, that's a lot of talent. And
they went 2.5 hours down to the Ohio Valley and beat River 21-20. River is a very good team in their division every year. But we get Coach back.
Yeah, sounds like we do have him back online here, Jake. And, hey, like Travis said, a potential for you guys to get 2 home games. You guys are 5-0 at home this season. So how much of an advantage do you think that is playing on your home turf?
well, I hope it's an advantage for us. I'm really happy for our seniors. We only got 4 home games this year with our schedule. Obviously, you guys just talked about the fact that we traveled about 600 miles in week 1 and week 2 just to play some games. So, for our seniors, the opportunity to play at least one more game at home, and then if we can take care of business having another one, it's important for our seniors and our community. So feel very fortunate.
4 straight wins for you guys following your only loss at Cary. What do you think you learned from that defeat that's made you a better, stronger program and team?
Well, going into this year, we've got some kids back that have played on, 2 or 3 of these teams that have done a really great job over the years. But, we're really a young football team. We're playing some younger kids, and every week has been just us maturing and getting better. And obviously, when you go to Cary and play a team with 17 seniors that, I'm sure circled that game on their calendar from us beating them in the regional game last year, we knew we'd have our hands full. And Cary's a great program, and I think since then our kids have just locked in and tried to get better each week at what we're doing and how we're doing that. So I give credit to our seniors and our leadership that they've had to kind of get past that loss.
I think arguably, Coach, you got the best running attack in the entire area. Matter of fact, might not even be debatable at this point. Yeah. Just how much confidence do you have in the ground attack pretty much every time you go out that you're going to win at the point of attack, and there's going to be holes for your dudes to run through, and they typically find those lanes?
We're very fortunate to have
We were fortunate to have Jake here with us. One of the great dudes here, I think, in North Central Ohio, and one of my favorite coaches in the area because he always keeps it raw with you. It's always unfiltered. I can tell that there's not a little bit of a prism up between Coach's words and what he's actually thinking, and we'll get a few more out of him here, Coach. Since we do got you back, tell us about Seneca East. Getting another game against a team that you're obviously familiar with in the Northern 10, and do you like getting a second shot at a team, or do you kind of wish it would be a new flavor?
Obviously I would probably prefer to play somebody just that we haven't played before. Not because I'm scared of Seneca East, but I have a lot of respect for Ed Phillips. They've done a really good job there over the years. They've been in the Final Four. I'm not going to tell you that I don't lose sleep at night thinking about Blake Foose a little bit, because I do. But they're a good team and a great opponent. They got great size. They got kids that play really well, and they love football there. We know we're going to have our hands full, and they're going to give us everything we want and more on Friday night. And just a lot of respect for them. So, truthfully, I'd probably have rather played a new opponent, but, you don't get what you want in life sometimes. So it is what it is.
It's the perfect segue into my question, Coach. Blake Foose, 1,600 yards passing, over 1,000 yards rushing. What are you going to need? What do you need to do to contain him on Friday night?
I don't know that there is, the yards he's put up the last 2 years. I don't know that there's a way to stop him. You can only hope to limit him and that he somehow tires out. But we just got to do a good job of keeping him in front of us. And obviously, if we can run the ball and take possessions away from Seneca would help as well. But, they're just a really good football team with a really good player and a kid, not only a great player, he's a good person. He's a great leader, and I have a lot of respect for him and how he leads that team and the guys around him.
Well, Jake, we're definitely looking forward to seeing you guys back in action in Week 11 yet again. So congratulations on another playoff berth, and best of luck on Friday. We'll see you there, bud.
Thank you.
All right, Jake Bruner of the Colonel Crawford Eagles, and I think this team definitely has a lot of potential to get into the championship game in that region. Yep. But like you were already daydreaming about, they'd probably have to run into a team that won a state championship just a couple of years ago, Travis. And with that, let's segue right into our next guest. Hey, Jonathan Marshman. What's up, brother? How's Sunday Fun Day going for you?
It's going. We're in here working in the office right now at the field house.
And the work probably never stops out there in Cary Country, right? I mean, to be as successful as you guys have been, I mean, the wife and kids, they got to understand that Daddy's going to be putting in some time at the office on a Sunday morning, making sure that you're prepared for Friday night.
And look what's over his left shoulder, a little bit of a championship trophy, huh?
Oh, just a little one. Nice. Yeah. I like seeing the bling-bling there. Well, qualifying for the postseason yet again, what's that mean to you?
We've been fortunate to do this last 3 years, win the N10 outright, and then get into the playoffs and be a high seed and get some home games, and so I think this community loves it. They're looking forward to these next, especially this week being a home game, and hopefully we get a win and then we can have another home game.
Well, y'all been crushing it after that 0-2 start, Coach, against some really good teams. What do you remember about getting off the schneid there with 2 losses in your first 2 games, and have you gotten better as a program because of it?
Yeah, I mean, those first 2 games we played Hopewell Loudon, who's 10-0, and we played Galleon, I think finished, 7-3.
Right.
We started out with 2 awesome games, and we didn't play our best, and we had to make a couple changes, and we came out pretty fired up against LCC here at home for the first home game, and I think we gained a lot of confidence in that LCC game.
Well, 5 of your first 6 opponents were actually above 500. I mean, how challenging was the start to the season for you guys? Because there was a ton of good football teams that are all postseason bound that you guys had to go toe-to-toe with.
Yeah, just like you said, they were great games right out of the rip, and here at Cary, we're willing to play some teams, so we want to go play. We want to sharpen ourselves up, see what we're like, see what we need to work on, find our weaknesses, and all that good stuff. So I think those first 5 games showed us things that we needed to work on, and we got back at it and did it.
Well, you're going to get Crestview, a familiar team to you in the playoffs. I think this is the 3rd time that you're going to play them in the postseason since 2020. So is this kind of a budding rivalry as it pertains to postseason play, or do the Cougars actually have to win one of these before you can start calling it that?
Ooh. No, I think it is a rivalry. They're going to give us everything we can handle. They were a little disappointed in that 2021 when we met up with them. That we kind of ran away with it a little bit, and then they came back late. So I think they're going to come out fired up and ready to go, and they're going to try to hit us in the mouth. This is going to be a really hard hitting game from the first whistle to the last, and I don't expect anything else less than that.
Coach, when you talk about Cary football, it starts with the running game. What has Eli Steen meant to this squad this year? Over 800 yards rushing going into the postseason. Just you talk about the players you had in the past, the rushers. I mean, the human RV that we called our boy,
Winnebago.
The Winnebago, but Vallejo. But what has Steen meant to this squad this year? Kind of like filling in the shoes of Vallejo after he graduated.
Yeah, so Steen is only a sophomore, and he's still growing into the position. He's getting better and better every week. He's no Jordan yet, but he's working on it. And, you're showing some clips of Vallejo here, and Steen wanted that number 24, so he's got the same number. And I think he wants to try to get to that level and then go past that. So I think we can get there with him. We're going to keep working on it, but he's getting better and better. And I'm telling you, he's a load to bring down as well.
And poor Jordan, we're showing a couple of clips here, and it's just him fumbling the rock over and over. So he had a little bit better career than that, and certainly in the postseason, a place where Cary tends to thrive, Coach. So we're looking forward to seeing you back in action. Week 11 football at your place, one of my favorite environments in all of North Central Ohio. So I'm sure it's going to be rocking and rolling out there, and I'm sure you'll also put on a show, Coach. So good luck to you on Friday night.
Hey, thank you very much for having me.
Thanks, Coach.
Our pleasure. Yeah, all these coaches are working on a Sunday morning. We thought we was the only ones out here, but nah, they're already out there. They're diagramming out some of their play sheets and already checking out some of the film. That's pretty cool to see.
It's coaches, they get to the end of the season and kind of hate, I want a Sunday, but then you get to that week 11, you think, hey, I'm working on a Sunday on week 11. That means that we're here. It's usually that, but for players, you always want to be practicing on Thanksgiving week. You want to be practicing Thanksgiving morning, and some of these coaches, they have the ability to get their kids there.
All right, we got plenty more coming up here. Let's go into Division 7 now, though, Travis. Is that right? Or
D6.
are we jumping?
We're
still in D6?
We're still in D6. We had 3 games left in D6 22. Western Reserve taking on Black River. We'll run through these real quick. Western Reserve, Connor Dawson, the leading rusher in the area, over 700 yards ahead of Dane Nauman.
Wow.
Going into Week 10.
Woo.
He's already clinched the rushing championship, so they are a running squad, and they're going to have to do so against Black River, a team that upset Columbia to go into to get into week number 11. So that's going to be a tough task there, the 8-9 matchup. Winford, like I said, the Royals are coming on as of late. They got a good quarterback in Ashton Warren, over 1,100 yards passing. Anthony Evans over 1,000 yards rushing. So, the Winford Royals, they're going to be at Tenora, a 7-3 team. And then the Mapleton Mounties, they've had a lot this season.
Sure.
They made it, though, into the postseason. A big win over Crestview, especially in week number 10 or 5-5. They have Colin Klein, quarterback, another leading rusher in the area, in top 10. He has over 1,500 yards rushing. So a lot of running teams coming into this D6 Region 22. Mapleton will be at Columbia.
Tough one.
Drop them. So it's going to be a tough matchup for them, but we'll just have to see there to finish out Region 22. And now it's time to go to D6 Region 20. How can you skip D6 Region 23 when we got our KMAC squads in there?
How dare I jump over this? Because what do we got? We got East Knox out there, right? They got in as the number 9 seed, though. So I think that they're probably a little bit upset that they don't get a play at home going to Martins Ferry. And then that's your backyard, right?
Yeah, that's actually, last year we had a KMAC squad, Northmore, go to Belair, which is about 10 minutes south of Martins Ferry. I actually have family that played for Martins Ferry at Purple Rider Stadium. Them and Blair, one of the overall winningest teams in the state of Ohio. I think they're in the top 10, top 15 overall. But the Bulldogs nearly beat Danville to get in as a home team, but they got to go 2.5 hours to the Ohio River to take on the Purple Riders of Martins Ferry. But I think they've come on as of late, the Bulldogs.
Playing great defense.
Yeah.
Love
great
that.
Defense.
4 shutouts.
Yeah, Jax Lester's throwing the ball now. Brayson Davis making some big catches, and then you have a great running back to replace one Coldwater, who is now at Danville, and Elliott.
Yeah, Blake Elliott's he's great on both sides of the football, too. I believe the second leading rusher. I think he might even finished, actually, yardage ahead of DeLauder in the final KMAC rankings, and then also the top tackler in the league. So dude's unbelievable. But Danville is the team that you got to keep an eye on coming out of this region. They're number 2.
7.
They're 10-0. Oh, excuse me. I'm trying to jump ahead. See, I'm so excited about Division 7. I'm gonna pump the brakes, Travis. I'll let you talk a little bit more about D6. Well, what else we keep an eye on?
Well, let's talk about our Golden Knights. The Golden Knights of Northmore. They clinched the number 4 seed. They will be at the Castle for 2 home games, and that It's the first time in school history that they will possibly get 2 home games.
Hey.
And let's just welcome in. I actually went to practice on Wednesday and said, "Coach, let me get an interview, and we'll keep you off the show for a live interview." But Brian, I know you're so excited to talk to him, even though you're trying to skip over them. So let's welcome in right now Scott Armros, the head coach of the KMAC runner-up, and now possibly 2 home games in the playoffs, Golden Knights of Northmore. Scott, how are you doing today, Coach?
We're doing great. How are you guys today?
Living the dream, right?
I'm having a great time right now, Coach. I didn't mean to try to hurdle over D6, and I didn't know that Travis was trying to put in some extra work early in the week, so you didn't have to be here. So we do appreciate some time here on a Sunday morning. And I got to imagine all the coaches we're talking to already, they're breaking down game tape already on this Sunday morning. Is that something that you're already starting to look at?
We're working right now. Yeah, we've got our coaches here in my classroom. We've been breaking film down here all morning, and we're trying to get ready for Week 11.
Coach, let's just go over the questions I already asked you on Wednesday. This offense, it is a dynamic offense. You got A.J. Bauer out there slinging it. He's the leading passer in the KMAC, first-team KMAC. You got Jax Wenger. You got big play Bo Landon. You have Hunter Falk out there at receivers. Ooh. But not only that, you have 2 really good rushers, Carson Campbell. You have Paul Kramer back there as well. Just how dynamic has this offense been for you guys just to keep it open up and give you options?
Yeah, we like to stay balanced, and we like to show that and that we have the ability to both run and pass the ball, and we take what the other team gives us. You know, if they're going to back off and try to take that pass away, then we're going to be able to pound the ball up inside, and vice versa. So when they start to bring those guys back into the box, we have big playability from several guys, and A.J. Bauer, the quarterback, can get them the football.
And then, defensively as well, 25 turnovers this season, over 13 sacks, led by Cameron Goldbach. Just that's Northmore football, right? Defense, turnovers, but what have they been able to do to make you proud defensively this season?
What we're most proud of is the way that we improved. Since that Mapleton game, we've shown our defensive line we had a lot of work to do, and Coach Al Sears, who has become our defensive coordinator this season, works with those defensive linemen every day, and they're a very fundamental group of kids. They're very coachable, they're smart, and they have improved consistently all season long, and not just rushing the passer, but stopping the run game as well. So we're really pleased with our defensive ends, especially outside, being able to set an edge and rush the passer. And then we got some big guys in Vance Johnson, Ryan Lowry, and Thomas Detweiler that are able to plug up the middle.
And you guys get to play at home, one of the coolest venues I think that we have in the entire area. What does that signify, playing at the Castle, for Northmore football, and what type of advantage is it?
Well, it's a big advantage. Cole Grove's got quite a ways to travel. They're taking a 3-hour bus ride. We know exactly how that feels. We did it last year when we went to Bel Air. But at the same time, they are a seasoned football team. They've been in this situation before. They're a playoff team, seems like, every year in Region 23. So, is it an advantage to play at home? Absolutely, it is. We have a great crowd. We have a field that we love to play on. We don't have to take that long trip. But at the same time, we're playing a pretty good football team that has done this before.
Without any disrespect to some of the past teams that you've had here, Coach, that have gotten into the postseason here of late, is this the most confident that you've been going into the postseason, given that you could potentially have 2 tournament games at home and, a couple of, I think, winnable games for you guys here early on in the playoffs?
Well, I'm glad you think so. We're working on that right now. We play a really good football team in Cole Grove this week, and that is absolutely 100% our focus. It is a potential for 2 home games, and without taking care of business this first one, that potential is just not going to be there. So we have to take care of things this week, and that's completely and totally our focus right now.
Well, Coach, I know that you got a lot of work to do here on this glorious Sunday, so we'll let you get back to breaking down the film and coming up with a good game plan for them. We'll definitely be over at the Castle taking in the action, so we'll see you on Friday night, sir.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, looking forward to seeing you.
Scott Armros of the Golden Knights. You guys will probably, you and Ken will be the pair that I assume will be back over there.
They got a food spread planned out for us and everything in the press box, so I think we're ready to go.
Take care of you guys over
Shout
there.
out Bo Landon's mom. She runs one of the food trucks there. She made it was like a Big Mac fold over taco. One of the most delicious things I've ever had. Speaking of Big Macs from earlier, it's just
I'm going to need some lunch here pretty soon. But can we get to Division 7?
Yeah.
Like, can we get there already? It seems like I've been trying to jump the gun on that. So let's check out D7 Region 25. I think for us, maybe the most exciting region because we've got a ton of local flavor in there and a lot of variety pack. And then you look at Doughton, they're probably the favorite sitting up there as the top dogs. Well, down at the bottom, I know number 2 in Danville. They probably got something to say with that as well.
I think Doughton has a bit of a tougher test because you look at that 8-9 game. It came down to playoff points in a game that was played yesterday between Fort Loramie and Lima Central Catholic that determined where these were going to have. We were either going to have a Monroeville at Lucas game or a week 2 rematch from an amazing game at Hillsdale, and that's where they're going to be as we take a look at the top of the bracket where the Lucas Cubs will be traveling just 20 minutes, 10, 15, 20 minutes to Hillsdale.
Close.
Yeah,
close-ish.
Not that much, but they'll be heading there to take on Hillsdale in a rematch. I really thought in that first game in week 2 that the Logan Tom's punt return with about 4 minutes left was going to end it, but then Jack Fickus and company right back down. And after that game, that's when the best 2-loss Division 7 team began. And look where they're at now. Only 7-3 to finish the season. They went 7-1 the rest of the way. That's Lucas Cubs football.
I can't believe they didn't get a home game in the playoffs because Bob Wine, what a great venue, was hoping that I could have the opportunity to go over there. But they will go to an equally as gorgeous stadium, the new one that the Falcons have. And their head coach, we got him on the line right now, so let's bring in Trevor Klein and find out, what's the latest in Falcons country, buddy? How's Sunday treating you so far?
It's going great so far. I've just been working on breaking down film, getting ready for our game this week, but I'm enjoying the day.
Well, you took a couple of rough L's midway through the season against the top dogs in your conference. Talk to me about the 4-0 finish, though, and how much you enjoyed seeing your team kind of blossom here down the stretch, going in the tournament with some momentum.
Yeah, our players are continuing to improve each week. The 2 losses mid-season are against 2 of the better teams in the area, and we knew going into the season Doughton and Norway were both going to be tough matchups, and it was a tough game for us, but I felt our players responded to it well, and they've continued to find ways to get better to lead us this point into week 11.
Well, you barely slide into a home game there, Coach. You get that number 8 seed. What's the type of significance of not having to travel and being able to play where you're very comfortable?
It's always neat when you get a home playoff game. This is the first time in school history where we've had back-to-back years where we've hosted a home playoff game. And like you guys were saying earlier, it came down to yesterday, depending on how LCC did to determine if we were going to get to stay home or we would be on the road, which is sort of interesting when you're 8-2 and you have some quality wins against some really good opponents. But that's just sort of how Region 25 and Division 7 played out this year.
Well, you're going to get Lucas again. Unbelievable finish the last few times that you guys have played. You have not disappointed every time you get back on the football field. So even though they're a dangerous team, got to imagine this is a pretty fun one, and you're looking forward to some more fireworks.
We always look forward to playing against great competition. Lucas has a great program. I feel our programs are very similar. We've both been to the playoffs for many straight years now, and we both like to do similar things in terms of running the football and playing really good defense. So it should be another great matchup. It's been nice since we started up the regular season games again over the past couple of years, and it looks to be another good game here in Week 11.
What did you take away from the first game against Lucas that you feel like you can kind of put in your playbook and use to your potential and your advantage on Friday night when you get a second shot at the Cubs?
I just felt our defense played well against them again, so that's what we need to do. Again, because each time we play them, it's always a struggle to move the ball against their defense. And the same thing for them. Their offense has struggled moving the ball against our defense too, because I feel both defenses are pretty disciplined, and they make you have to earn each one of your scores. There's not too many mental breakdowns on either defense. So we will look back at film from the previous game we played them, see what was working well for us, what adjustments we need to make. But obviously both teams have grown since that Week 2 game, so it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
So, yeah, like you said, it was Week 2, 8 weeks ago, 2 months ago that you two played. You got to think both teams are a bit different from when you started the season. How have you progressed? How have you changed since that Week 2 matchup?
I think the biggest thing for us is we've gotten a lot of experience. We're playing a lot of young players this year, and I mean, we have many underclassmen who have gotten 8 games of experience since then. So I feel that's only going to help us, but I also know for them too, they have guys who have gotten experience too. They were playing some guys in some new positions this year, so they've also got 8 games of experience in those new positions too. So it will be a great matchup between both teams.
Well, Coach, it sounds like you might have a smoke detector in the background or like an oversized cricket making some noise there. So we'll let you kind of take care of that as you get ready to bring some smoke against the Cubs coming up on Friday night at your place. Best of luck to you with the preparation, and we'll see you on Friday night.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, you're right about that. I thought I had the correct battery switched, and it wasn't doing it. And I get on here, and it starts doing it. It was too late to get it switched before I went on air here. So that is going to be the first thing I do as soon as I get off here.
That's how we do it with the live coverage, Coach, is that you never know what you're going to get, buddy. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Coach.
All right. Thank you. Yep. See you guys.
What do we have during the podcast? Blake Tackett with a police car or fire truck and his kids in the background. I mean, hey,
going berserk.
I love that stuff. It's natural, right?
It is indeed. And naturally, I think we're going to go from some Falcons. And let's get in their competitor. We heard from one side of the equation in this 8-9 matchup. Now let's bring in Scott Spittler.
Best 3-loss team in Division 7,
That's
baby.
right, baby. And Travis has been saying that all year, Coach. Validate them. Are you guys indeed the best 3-loss team in D7?
I'll let you guys decide that. We feel like that we've gotten better each week, and that's kind of our mindset. You know, we're independent. We don't play in a conference, so our mindset is to earn the opportunity to represent our community in the postseason, and we want to be playing our best football at the end of the season. And there's some negatives to not being in a conference, but there's also some benefits, and the benefit is throughout the season when you're trying to have a growth mindset and get your team ready, you're not so scared to make adjustments and try things out to see what is the best group that you can put on the field or the best scheme that you can put on the field. And I think our coaching staff has done a nice job of that, and our kids have continued to work each week and get better. So I think we're playing our best football when we need to play our best football.
Well, he talks about getting into the postseason again. Nobody's been doing it in a longer stretch than you guys. A decade strong that you've been in Week 11, Coach. What type of validation is that for you and your program, knowing that, I mean, you're one of the most competitive football teams in all of Division 7?
Well, I just think it's the mindset of everyone that has made our program what it is, from our community, our school, our players and parents, everybody working and buying into our standards and our expectations and how we want to play football and the type of kids that we want to have on the field representing us. So that's been it. And so I think it's validation of everybody's work and commitment to each other to build this program.
First off, Coach, congratulations on 100 wins. It was pretty cool. And
bravo.
In back-to-back couple weeks, you had Scott Spittler and Choky Bradley, both two of the better coaches in the area, get victories. Congratulations on that. I'm going to ask the same question I asked Coach Klein. You two met up in Week 2 months ago. How have you guys progressed since that game when you last met Hillsdale?
Well, I just think when you play those type of teams, Hillsdale, we have a tremendous amount of respect for them. We're close as far as geographically, and we have a lot of respect for Coach Klein and his staff and what they do. And, he said it. We're very similar in that we pride ourselves on running the football and playing good defense and being disciplined. And when you're facing another team that does the same thing, mistakes and things like that are magnified. And I think that's what's made us better is when you play the competition that, we have to play with being independent and this type of schedule that we put together. You definitely find out where you got to get better and work at each week. And so I think Week 1 and 2, taking some tight losses there really forces you to look inside as a program and as a team and as a coaching staff to get better. And we've done that. We've done that each week. I like where our kids are commitment-wise and as far as how they practice. I think the product and the execution that we're seeing on Friday nights now matches what we're getting during the week of practice.
Some crazy awesome games against the Falcons the last three times that you guys have met here over these last few seasons. What were your initial thoughts when you saw that you get them again, only this time in a win-or-go-home situation?
We knew our region was extremely tight, computer points wise, because I think if you look at our region as a whole compared to other regions, there's a lot of good football teams in our region this year, and so we knew even with 7 or 8 wins that it was going to be tight, and we felt like we did what we could do, which we did. We went out and we won. We just had an unfortunate thing where nobody on our schedule that we've beaten won Friday night. So other than our victory over Arlington, we did not get any additional second level points. Wow. And when it comes down to 0.2 of a point, that made the difference between being at home and being on the road. But like I tell our kids from day one, the minute you lose one game, you put it in the hands of a computer system. So we got no one to blame but ourselves for not being at home. But we got the great opportunity of representing our school and community in the playoffs, and this is where we expect to be when we start the season. And everybody's 0-0 now, and it's time to get back to work.
Well, every season's different. Every postseason journey obviously has its own different meaning and the new players and stuff. But given that you've got the playoff pedigree now and all the kids that have come up through the system that are playing for you currently, that's all they know is just going into Week 11 and then even beyond, Coach. How does that pedigree give you guys maybe an additional edge when you start going into some of these postseason competitions?
Well, I don't think it really gives us an edge this week because Coach Klein's done a great job. They've got several seasons in a row here now, playoff experience, so their kids expect to be there too. But I think it's the mentality of, we expect to test ourselves during the regular season with our schedule so that when we get in the postseason against like-sized schools, it's like not a shock to us, so to speak, because we've been playing good competition throughout the season. So I think that helps prepare our kids for the postseason, but it's also a matter of every year when we start in the summertime or in the off-season program, our kids know what the standard is and what the expectation is, and they know that they have had the torch passed to them. So it's about keeping that standard where it needs to be.
Well, I'm not sure how you do it, Coach, but you've totally redefined what RPO means here in this area. Run people over. That's what the Cubs have done better than anybody in North Central Ohio since you've been in command over there. So keep it up, man. I can't believe that you guys are back in the postseason again. 10 straight years from what I saw like 12, 13 years ago when you were first getting your start over there. So continued success, and we definitely look forward to seeing you compete again on Friday night.
All right, thank you, and appreciate all you guys do.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, our pleasure, Scott. Yeah, what a great matchup that we have in that 8-9. I wish it wasn't. That way we could have 2 different teams in the area that we can have coverage for. But the fact that they have turned out such memorable outcomes, maybe I do kind of like it now. I might have just talked myself into the fact that this 8-9 matchup, this could probably be the most fun one in D7 that we have.
Did you talk yourself into calling that game?
I might have to. Yeah, I'm going to look at the schedule tonight, of course, after we digest a little bit of the NFL action and see if the Browns can get a victory for us here, kicking off in about 10 minutes or so.
Well, another game that maybe we have a chance of covering would be the Galleon Tigers at Heisey Park. I don't know because of things what they got going on, but so. I think we have one more final interview coming up here.
We do indeed. We're going to close out the show here. I know Matthew Dick had some things going on a little bit earlier, but Coach is joining us right here and now on the hotline. So, Coach, what's been going on this Sunday? You were texting me super early, so obviously, you've been at it for hours, bro. What you been up to?
Yeah, game planning with the coaches, and then we also had our all-conference meeting. So we had the whole MOAC at Galleon High School, and we were working out first team and second team votes.
I like it. Any insider info? You want to tell us maybe some of the people that are considered for like offensive, defensive player of the year, maybe coach of the year?
I'm hoping Bobkin Miller from Ontario. I'm sure the quarterback from Shelby is going to be up for it as well. And I think there was a D lineman from Harding. So we didn't get that information on who won it, but it's definitely those 3 are in the running. And then coach of the year, there's a lot of good candidates. I love what the guy at Pleasant did, Coach Eckert at Ontario, and even Shelby. There's a lot of good teams in MOAC this year.
Well, give yourself a pat on the back. You're back in the postseason yet again with your program, and it just feels like you've continuously taken steps to get better and better since you've taken over there. So in what ways do you feel like you're a better coach and you got a better program now that you've got some sustainability out there in Tiger Country?
Yeah, I think the longer you do it, the more mistakes you make, the more chances you have to grow. And I think our program's really done that over my 8 years here. I'm proud of where we're at. We have some really special offensive and defensive line that allows us to play really good offense and defense at times. And if we could just stay healthy, we're a really good football team this year.
You played in a lot of close games down the stretch. How nice was it to get like a running clock against Harding there in Week 10, Coach, where you didn't have to be biting down your nails and coming up with some crazy game plan down the stretch to get a win?
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to have Gabe Ivey back, and our O-line just been really, really physical, especially at tight end and H-back and fullback. Those guys up front have made it easy. We were almost running a Lucas-style offense on Friday, but we did a good job with it, and then we played great defense, and it allowed us to rest some of those injured guys, and hopefully we'll get a little bit healthy this week.
Undefeated at home this year. What makes Heisey Park a great place for the Tigers to be uncaged?
Yeah, our community just really comes out and supports us. It's a big deal to live in Gallion and be a high school football player. It's been a big deal for a long time. I love how our Gridiron Club lines that one side of the end zone. And they got food and just a really cool atmosphere on that one end. It's just a really nice place to play. We put a lot of money into our facilities there, whether it be the fence, what we pay for the grass to get done. It doesn't get much better than that stadium for high school football on Friday night.
Only thing would be better is if the OH report was there. Hopefully we try to get there on Friday. But, Coach, you preached this year, don't be afraid to fail. How has that fearlessness helped your guys' success this season?
Yeah, absolutely. We really have that goal of going 1-0 and blocking out, all the future and past events. And we did talk about not being afraid to fail. And I think when you get in big time games, there's a moment where you make that play. And I think in the playoffs, in my experience, it's going to come down to one or two plays where momentum shifts. And we've had that happen to us positively and negatively, even at Heisey Park in the playoffs. So our kids understand that. But I think if you're doing the right stuff and you put all your effort in, all your focus in, then you got to live with the results. And I think that's kind of what we preached, and our kids have bought into it. We had a good week of practice last week. I'm excited to have a good week this week.
And something else that the players have bought into was the drinking of the pickle juice. I partake before Shelby. I apologize if I jinxed you guys for 2 weeks by doing that. But did you partake at all at the drinking of the pickle juice on a Friday morning?
Yeah, I think I had a shot of it in a pep rally when we lost to Shelby. So when we made it a little bit too big of a deal, it was bad. But on the same note, Holden Hunter, who is one of the best linemen I've ever coached, his mother is one of our lunch ladies. Her name is Dawn Hunter, and she's got a heart of gold. She loves these kids. Probably half the team basically calls her mom, and she's just doing things to make this a special year, a special senior season for her son Holden. And anything that we do that is going to make great memories, I think is really, really important. And we kind of, towards the end of this year, we kind of talked about, let's make some more memories. In the playoffs, when you win big games in the playoffs, it's one more memory this group gets to have. And I think our kids have really had some cool memories this year already, but hopefully we can make a couple more.
And I got to say, I didn't think it tasted that bad, the pickle juice, but
I love pickle juice.
I did not have any cramps during my call that night and everything, so I think they're on to something. And I was happy that you guys invited me over, did a little video, so if you look down on our Facebook timeline a while ago, we'll have that. But, yeah, the pickle juice, that's a cool little thing they had.
Hey, it's working, baby. 7-3 talks, Coach, and definitely expecting to go to 8 wins on the season when you're playing at home against Firelands on Friday. We'll be there. Looking forward to seeing you guys compete. But for now, we got about 5 minutes until NFL kickoff. Who's your NFL team? Who you cheering on today?
Cleveland Browns. Yeah, I'm rooting on them. I love their defense. They've been playing great D all year. Hopefully they keep it going.
No question about it. Yeah, at Indy today. Yeah, you predicting a win? I think Deshaun Watson's suiting up, ain't he?
That'll make it easier.
It should definitely help.
Yeah, that would. That will.
All right. Coach Matt Dick of the Gallion Tigers.
Thanks,
Thanks for giving us some time, man.
Thank you.
All right, so Gallion, another intriguing team, I think, entering the postseason in Division 4. If they do get a win in Week 1, moving on, that's when things really start to tighten up, of
West
course,
Holmes,
because then it's down to those 8 teams, and if they were to go on the road, man, that 5-4 matchup, that would be juicy.
Oh, absolutely. West Holmes, I talked about that high-flying offense, but Gallion, fearless offense.
They can do both. Yeah. I think Prosser's a little bit better runner than he is a passer, but with a healthy Gabe Ivey, that gives them a different added dimension, of course, with the 1-2 punch where you can't just key on Braxton as a runner, and that's when they hit you. How many highlights have we showed you of the Tigers this year with the play-action attack set up by awesome runs by Ivey?
And the elusiveness, too.
For sure. Both of these guys, they've got killer speed, too, once they get to that second level. So it's going to be a fun Week 11, Travis. I am already looking forward to Friday, though.
Oh, yeah.
We got a lot going on
we have
today.
Volleyball and soccer. We're gonna relax.
Yeah,
we're actually gonna take some hours to relax because we got a long.
I don't know how relaxing it is being a Browns fan.
Well, I get to wait until 4 o'clock before I get to freak out. So I'm gonna go get some food and lay on a couch and watch Red Zone for the first half, and then make sure my fantasy team wins. But how about shout out to all these football? We've had a ton of teams make it to the playoffs. I know we have 16, so it's a little bit easier, but the amount of teams in North Central Ohio that are playing in Week 11, I think it's the most we've had in the last few years. So shout out to everybody for just playing competitive football, making things fun for us on the OH Report this season.
Been having a blast so far through 10 weeks, and we know that Week 11 is going to be even bigger, and just playoffs in general across the board. We've got a lot of soccer teams, volleyball teams competing through the week before we get to Friday, but it's about the here and now. It's Sunday, baby, so I got to set my fantasy lineup. I got about 2 minutes to do that, and I always put $25 on the Browns to win. Make sure that you get yours locked in as well.
It's National Tight End Day, too.
And we got a pretty good one. He's got a couple of little burns on his face, but hey, he's a competitor. He's still out there.
I'll just take your $25 now if you want.
So far, I'm on the upper hand, baby, at 3-2, looking for win number 4 today, Browns fans. So cheer on your team. And how about them Buckeyes yesterday? OH, good environment. Got my voice back, but we gotta get out of here. Thanks for watching
Sunday,
with us,
everybody.
And, hey, thank you to the 9 coaches that called in today and gave us some time. Like, I gotta compliment all of them. It's
Shout
Sunday.
Out Adam Thompson for driving his bus too. Great job by him too. Amazing job in preparedness yesterday. We worked like 5 hours getting this ready too.
Absolutely. I was up till almost 2 a.m. just trying to get together some notes and just making sure that the coaches were ready to go. But yeah, I got to get my fantasy team lined up, guys. See y'all.